Good morning, Amy. I'm over here at this house on Vel Phillips. Has a lot of potential, I believe, from talking to the other agent, but at the same time, it's just kind of left for the last several months. Empty, no tenants, no one cutting the grass. They thought they had some deals, and they didn't come through. So the way they wrote the offer or the listing with a full price offer, you can have a credit to fix this porch and the back porch, although I would just write a straight offer. It's a pretty quiet block up here on just this north sort of small Williamsburg Heights. A lot of old-time quiet families in a pocket behind an industrial territory. So let's have a look here. The floors look gorgeous. Lots of fresh paint everywhere. So this is kind of a classic Milwaukee duplex setup. You get a little front porch over there. You come up the front stairs into a large living room. Flows to a dining room. It does have the old built-ins, but it looks like those probably had lead glass doors in the old days. They've kind of boxed over those when the doors broke and the glass got smashed. So you have good sized bedroom here, a little bit of cracks in the plaster, but that's not a big deal. Should be easy to rent. Some inexpensive flooring here in the kitchen and bath territory. But everything looks updated and functional. I never like seeing these old windows in the shower area. Most people will end up putting glass block there and making it a little bit of a smoother transition so that wood doesn't rot out over time. Could use the switch here, switch plate there. In fact, there's a bunch, they probably took them off before they painted and never finished. Got a light missing. It's the back bedroom, good size. Looking out on the backyard, it's looking pretty overgrown. But there's a ton of parking back there. So this should be pretty easy to rent for $750, $800 a piece. There's no appliances in the kitchen. So again, those are some upfront costs, probably slowing down the purchase. Got a teeny tiny attic here. This is a pretty steep slope, but it'll give us a look at what the roof looks like. And here's a bit of a good and bad. Well insulated for sure, but right here you see there's cedar shake shingles. Those are showing you that the roof has never had an original tear off, so there's probably a layer or two on top of that. When you do redo a roof, you have to put plywood down because of those gaps. All the nails don't catch the way they would with cedar shake, so you're going to do modern shingles. So I'm not saying this needs a roof, but when it does, it'll probably be a $10,000, $12,000 roof instead of a $9,000 roof, just because you have to haul off all that extra cedar and then put down plywood. Got a little back porch here too. This is the jump porch. You do have two staircases here. Typically, these are here in second floor rentals just as another means of egress, but this is already legal with the front and back stairs. That fence, it's hard to say if that's their side or this side. That property next door looks a little abandoned also. So, it's just a question of getting tenants in here and keeping it up, having enough rent to justify cutting the lawn. But I would pull that fence down and maybe put something inexpensive like on that side. There's a tree over here. Some of those branches might need to come down. So what I saw when I was looking this up was that the current owners paid $80,000 for this a few years ago and started some rehab, and the agent said they had good tenants, they were making good rents, but they were going to fix it up a bit. So they vacated these units to fix them up, to boost the rents, and at that point that is when they ran out of money and motivation. I think they're out-of-town landlords. Not that this is something you should shy away from as an out-of-town landlord, but you've got to have good management in place. Got to have someone here to look after things, and I would never empty both units at once on purpose. I would always have one tenant in so that you have some revenue coming. Looks like there must have been a sewer backup at some point, unless it was a washing machine. This foundation looks like it gets some moisture in from outside. I think it's a poured concrete foundation. Those are pretty rare around here, and it's a good thing to have that versus the older brick foundation. Electrical is 100 amp service, although it looks like an older panel. Just this old paint here doesn't look great. I'm not going to say it's a big deal, but this over here where that backup happened doesn't look awesome. Got a high efficiency furnace here. It looks like a Heil, a good model. I take it back about poured concrete. This is concrete block that I can see right here. Looks like it's in okay shape. Not a lot of major displacement, but some small shifting here and there. Both the furnaces look like they're decent furnaces in good shape. You always want to see extra filters available for tenants to replace so that they don't stay there and get all gunked up and ruin your furnaces. Over here you do see a little bit of a horizontal crack. Some movement right there. It's really not major displacement, but you can see over time a little movement. In essence, you always want to have the water moving away from your foundation, so have your downspouts kicking 3-4 feet away so that the water doesn't just come off the roof and then come underground and saturate and try and come back in. So I think this property could use a price drop. I don't know why they're not advertising a price drop, but I heard pretty much the message is it's available. I think you could write lower. And the last person to come through had a hard time getting into the first floor. The agent couldn't understand why, because she said all the keys were the same, but I couldn't get in through the front. Let's see if it works down here. See if I can get in. This one kind of works. But we can't get that deadbolt. That's odd because the listing agent thinks these are the only keys and there's no way to get in. Somehow that got locked from the inside by somebody. So I don't think there's squatters in there or anything, but it's a weird situation where somebody needs to come and solve that. So, short, brief little video. The second property that you wanted to see on 2nd has a new tenant in it, so I need 48-hour notice and I'm leaving town today for the weekend, so maybe we go on Monday or Tuesday. Has a new tenant, so that's getting $1,000 a month. Those are pretty good rents, and that owner on 2nd is motivated. So we'll talk about that shortly.